I'd like to introduce Pete Lawley. Peter is the CEO of Brisbane Water Legacy.
Good morning all. Thanks for having me along today. Enjoyed the breakfast. I'm going to give a little bit of a run through about what Legacy does up here on the Central Coast, Brisbane Water Legacy, and cover a few little aspects as well. But I've got a bit of a video to show you as well that I'm sure will make you all realise just how important Legacy is. Basically, we're established here on the coast in 1951. Legacy has been actually around since for 90 odd years. And our thing about Legacy is we're there to provide care for the families and the dependents of veterans. We're not there to care for the veteran. The RSL is there to do that. So we look after particularly war widows, but also their children, etc. What we're finding now, and we have a number on the coast, that we have a number of veterans who have returned from the Middle East or other conflicts recently, and you've probably read about some of the post-traumatic stress, etc. We're finding we're picking up a number of families there where the veteran isn't able to cope to look after their family and is either still living with them or has left them. And we've now picked up a couple of younger kids ranging from 8, 12, I think 4, 6, something like that we're now supporting. And we, with those families, whilst the veteran is still around, he's not able to help them, so we're actually helping them out with things like all sorts of things from camps, but also things like monthly pocket money for little 8-year-olds that, you know, their father can't provide for or their mother can't provide for, so Legacy's still doing that type of thing. We've got about 1,800 widows at the moment. We've got quite a few of them now, 13 over the age of 100 years. I think we're up to about 15 or whatever, and we're talking about 105, 432, a number of those. And one of the main things we do for our war widows is it's about addressing the social isolation. We run widows clubs or social clubs at I think 5 locations on the coast, and we get them together for all sorts of different events. From things like Christmas in July down at Edlong Diggers, we bus them from Toukley in the entrance and all those sort of things. Have a great day. It's a really good event. We have big Mother's Day type days for them. It's just a matter of bringing them together, getting them out of their homes where they're isolated, and getting them with their kindred sort of folk that they have a bit to do with. As I said, we have juniors, so we have 5. That was a little while ago. We've now got about 7 juniors from 8 through to 20. We've just actually sent one of our juniors, went to Pozieres, to the Western Front with a Legacy tour that was 87 Legacy juniors from around the country. Went to Pozieres for the centenary there back in July, August, and that was all funded through the support of groups like Talus, Virgin, other ones like that, and each club contributed a little bit of money as well. So that was really a great experience for them. Next year we're sending 40 Legacy juniors to Kokoda as a trip through there. So that's a national group that happens like that. And we have special need dependents. They're dependents that we look after for life that have grown up with a disability. And you'd be surprised in the coast, we've got quite a few, we're 40, I think about 46 at the moment now, who are living still, a lot of them are still living with their mother. Their mother might be in their late 80s, even 90s, and they're in their 50s, that type of thing there. So we're supporting them. We do events, outings, help them fund projects. Obviously we assist them with getting links to the NDIS and to support groups in that regard there, but that's a fairly substantial number that we look after as well. We look after them for life. We spend about $800,000 a year on our welfare services. That $800,000, we get no government grants. I want to make one thing quite clear. Legacy is self-funded entirely. So that is money that we receive from the community through either donations, bequests, or obviously from our investment income. And we also operate a retirement village, so we produce an income out of that. So that's how it operates. Some of the unsexy stuff we spend money on for widows. So what you might think, well, why would you spend money on podiatry? Why aren't the Department of Veterans Affairs? A lot of our ladies don't qualify for DVA gold cards. So that's where we actually then basically pay for them to have their podiatry, to have their dental. A lot of them optical, all sorts of things, because they're not qualifying for Department of Veterans Affairs higher rate pensions or the gold card where they're funded for things. Legacy home support, what we do there is, whilst there's government programs for that under community aged care and what's called now community Commonwealth Home Support Program, a lot of our ladies don't fit into that as well, so we fund that program. So we fund a company, a contractor to come and provide domestic support at home or shopping services for them. So they'll take them to Woolies, etc., those sort of things there. We also, Tunstall Alarm System, that's our in-home emergency call system that we basically install for our widows at home. So they're ones that we decide that, you know, they need that sort of additional support, they're living on their own. They can press a button, and basically what happens there is that if they have a fall or something happens, it'll go straight through a call service who'll determine if they need an ambulance or some form of support there. That one, Tunstall Alarm System, 40 grand a year, we're really fortunate there. Aurum, aged care, and you may have heard of them, they operate up here at, the building up here at Ontario Drive, the Hammond Care there, and they actually purchased our 2 aged care facilities last year, provide us with an annual $40,000 donation through the Aurum Foundation. So that really helps in that sort of program, and that's where we're really saying to organisations, here's what, if you fund us for this, here's what that can go towards. One of the things we want to look at for next year is our widows' bus trips. They love going out in the bus. They love having days out. Now, through some negotiation and lobbying through the CEO, which is Bobby myself, and having some links, I managed to get a grant from the Department of Veterans Affairs the other day for $107,000 to purchase a new bus, which is fantastic because a new bus, just the coaster type thing with the disability fed up's about 150 grand. So I guess Brisbane Water Legacy is fortunate that I have a lot to do with the Department of Veterans Affairs nationally through various roles, and negotiated that we got a slightly higher contribution for that. It'll be arriving in the next week or so. Our old bus is about 16 years old. If anyone would like to buy a lovely second-hand bus, I'll leave you my card. It's fitted out. It actually still goes all right, but you know, I need to get rid of it. And I'm not giving it away, but it'll be really good for a camper van if someone was decided to retire or travel around the country. Just as a thought. That's my ad for the day. But that grant we got from the Department of Veterans Affairs, that's the first time we have received government funding for any of our projects here on the Central Coast for Legacy. So that just shows you that we are really committed to self-funding and doing this our own way. I cover the schooling expenses we do and other bits and pieces like that we have for our juniors and special need dependents. Now, one thing, Legacy is a voluntary organisation. It's a member organisation. So all of our legatees, and this is our board of directors, are volunteers. The only staff that are paid is people like myself, and around the country, there's, at Brisbane Water Legacy, we have a total of 9.5 staff. 2 of them are our grounds maintenance and cleaners, etc., at our retirement village in Gosford. We've got myself, and I cover a national role for Legacy as well, under aged care. We've got 3 welfare staff who actually, we pay them, they go and do visits out to our widows around the place, and we've really just got 2 administrative staff. So we're really focused on keeping our overheads down in that regard, but all of our legatees are volunteers. They don't receive a cent. One thing about Legacy, it's about personal service, and no legatee around the country is paid anything. So you may well have, I'm raising that quite clearly because there's a little bit going on at the moment in respect of the RSLs movements and how they're funding their directors through consultancy fees. That doesn't happen in Legacy. It's absolutely against our objectives, and it's why we're a really solid charity within the country in that regard there. They all give their time. They do visits to the widows. We have obviously the board of directors who are governance, so they have responsibilities like any other company director. Pardon me. So that's one of the differences, key differences of what Legacy is about, is that all of our, and we have 56 legatees, I think, on the Central Coast, so that's they give up their time in that regard. We've got the village in Gosford. A lot of you probably driven past it, 2 hectares of land, or around about 2 hectares of land. We've got little bed sitter type things there at the moment. We've also got a retirement unit. One's up on the market at the moment. It's available for anyone's interested over 55. And it's for $295, low cost sort of housing. We've opened that up to the broader community, but we'll always give the priority to a legacy widow. They're the York Street units I was just talking about, and that's as you head up around the corner there near the pool and up, you'll see a brick fence, and that's where the York Street units are, the A shape. So that's the staff. And another important thing, I think I raised this the first time I was here, is about our scholarships. So we actually fund this year, next year, starting from 1st of January, we'll be funding 3 scholarships. They started about $4,000 a year, go for 4 years. They go 4,000, 4.5, 5,000 and 5,000. And they're open to anyone commencing tertiary or other education in that regard. They're within an age range. It's managed through AVCAT. Now, AVCAT is the Australian Veterans Children's Trust. They look after the management of it, as in getting the scholarships in, doing the assessment. We fund that through basically the interest we're getting on a scholarship fund that we set aside. That will continue in perpetuity, whether legacy is there or not, because we will set it up as a separate part of our company. It's not a trust, but it will continue on. I think we've gone through 31st, so yeah, with 31 scholarship. Now it's targeted at anyone living on the Central Coast who is a descendant of a veteran. So that can mean descendant, it's a bit wide, it can be your uncle actually. It used to be a lot tighter, it used to have to be a grandchild, but we've actually opened it up because of the changes there. So that's a really worthwhile scholarship, and it's really pleasing to see some of our scholars, our students that have come through benefiting from that. I talked about the fact we're a company limited by guarantee. All of our reports, for those of you who are aware about charities, you can actually go to the ACNC website, you can search Brisbane Water Legacy, and you can see that what I've been telling you is all either a load of rubbish or it's true. But we have our annual financial statements there, we have our company constitution there, and we have the detail about what happens. You'll notice this year we made a fairly substantial profit, the reason being we sold our aged care. So it was a capital gain rather than an operating profit. Actually, we run at basically a loss each year, but so don't be alarmed that there's like a few $1 million gone in there. That's more wise business management than a rich charity. And obviously all our donations, like other charities, are tax deductible. I'm going to show you a video.
Mum and Dad and Denny saw the passing out parade, Puckapunyal. It was a long march from cadets, and the 6th Battalion was the next to tour. It was me who drew the card. We did Canungra and Shoalwater before we left, and Townsville lined the footpaths as we marched down to the quay. This clipping from the paper shows us young and strong and clean. There's me in me slouch hat with me SLR and greens. God help me, I was only 19. From Funtown, Pride and Chinooks to the dust at Newey Dat, I'd been in and out of choppers now for months, and we made our tents a home, VB and pin-ups on the lockers, and an Asian orange sunset through the scrub. And can you tell me, doctor, why I still can't get to sleep? Night time's just a jungle dark and a barking M16. What's this rash that comes and goes? Can you tell me what it means? God help me, I was only 19. On a 4-week operation, when each step could mean your last one on 2 legs. It was a war within yourself, but you wouldn't let your mates down till they had you dusted off. So you close your eyes and you thought about something else, and then someone yelled out, "Contact front!" And the bloke behind me swore. We hooked in there for hours, then the God Almighty roar. Frankie kicked a mine the day that mankind kicked the moon. God help me, was going home in June.
So that's a fairly moving video about what Legacy has done for a particular family. She wasn't from the Central Coast, she's from Brisbane, but I think that's quite a poignant point out of exactly what Legacy does and how we do support people. I've just got a couple of photos now to show you in respect of what some of our activities we've done around Gosford. We've taken them out for days and to the ABC and bits and pieces like that, the Mounted Police, etc. They love going on their outings, that's where our buses. And that must be the end of my slideshow. So Legacy Week's the first week of September. That's when we do our fundraising. You know, and locally we'll be selling badges. It's just about, and that's more about us not trying to raise a substantial amount of cash. It's just to get Legacy what we do, so that people know what we're around the place. You know, I mean that's the important thing about our days there. Thank you.
There we go. Done.